What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. And this is huge news. I know I'm late to the party. I didn't make a video right when the news was announced yesterday, but Jon Jones has retired. And I think one of the reasons, or one of the benefits, I should say, for not making a video immediately is I got to watch all the videos that came out about this retirement announcement. And I will be honest, I'm not surprised because obviously I knew that this was potentially going to happen, but I am slightly surprised because, as I mentioned in a recent video, some people are already clowning me about it. I felt as though this entire thing, Jon was playing everybody. Jon was getting everybody riled up and making them mad, all to fall into his plan to put more pressure on the UFC to simply negotiate for a higher payday. If we look back at Ariel Helwani's statements, what he said with inside information is that Jon Jones originally threw out an offer. The UFC met that offer. Then a few days later, Jon Jones reneged on that deal and said that he no longer wanted that amount of money. Now, I don't know the specifics in terms of if he asked for more money or whatnot, but that was my assumption. Because if he would have just flat out said no, I assumed he would have retired or they would have stripped him and he would have been on his way. But I feel like, based on what Ariel Helwani said, it seems like there must have still been a chance, or at least the UFC thought there was a chance to still convince him and change his mind and get him to do the fight, since he had originally said yes. Or he had actually, my theory, pure speculation, nobody's corroborated this, but I was just trying to be logical. Why would they've not stripped him, and why are we still having this dance back and forth? Is because maybe he's trying to get an even higher number than what he originally offered. Anyways, these are my thoughts. Was that completely off? It may have been, or it may have been that he overplayed his hand. I was talking to Jesse on Fire about this, and that is another possibility, that he was indeed trying to negotiate publicly to get more money, to get a new number, a specific number. Maybe it was 32 million, maybe 35 million, whatever it may be. And he just played it too long, pushed the UFC too hard, and the UFC finally put their foot down and said, no, this is not happening. But the reason why I'm really glad that I waited to make this video is because there's another piece to the story that only Daniel Cormier and James Lynch have talked about, and this is insane. Absolutely insane. And we're going to talk about this, and that's the title of this video, Retired or Running. And when I say running, what I mean is not from Tom Aspinall, but perhaps from himself, perhaps from the law, because this is all happening on the heels of another huge announcement that may have, for now at least, gone under the radar, but maybe more people will be talking about in the days to come. But Jon Jones seems to have had another major run-in with the law, and it's really weird because it's in this time where he just went on the Nelk Boys talking about how he's not even so interested in fighting. He more cares about his family, and he's focusing on these positives in his life that he's grateful for, supposedly, and maybe he is. But then this crazy story comes out involving a woman with her. Just listen to this. Is insane what Daniel Cormier has to say. So the question is, what state of mind is he really in? Is he really training, fighting, and doing, being above board? Or are his demons still there attacking him like they always have been? And is this part of the bigger reason as to why he just couldn't negotiate something, couldn't figure this out, couldn't get himself motivated to take this fight, even with that initial payday of somewhere close to 30 million, which is, again, what Ariel Helwani is alluding to? Listen to this story. This is insane.
I guess this is what it said. There's a criminal complaint against Jon Jones. It stated that an Albuquerque police officer was investigating a traffic crash near San Mateo and Lomas when she came across a woman in the front passenger seat of one of the cars exhibiting signs of significant intoxication and lacking clothing from the waist down. I got this from the Albuquerque Journal, which was sent to me. The woman reportedly said Jones was the driver but fled the scene on foot. She didn't call Jones, the complaint stated, and the police service aide spoke to the man on the other end of the call, believed to be Jones. He appeared to be heavily intoxicated and made statements implying his capacity to employ lethal force through third parties, through the PSA.
So do you hear this? He's saying, so just process all of this for a moment. There was a woman in the passenger seat of a car with no pants or underwear on. Okay, number one, heavily intoxicated. Number two, said Jones was driving and got into a car crash. Number three, he fled the scene. Number four, when the police officer talks to him, he threatens the police officer with lethal force. 5. Just process all of that for a second. And Jon Jones is 37 going on 38. This is pure insanity.
The court record stated the PSA requested backup after what was believed to be a threat when a police officer then talked to Jones and said similar allusions to violence were made. The man on the phone never answered direct questions about whether he was Jones, the complaint stated. When interviewed in person a few days after the crash, Jones said the woman found in the car had left his house earlier in the day intoxicated and called him after getting in a crash, at which time Jones said the person she handed the phone to immediately opened a conversation with unprofessional language, which led to him doubting the legitimacy of the individual's claim.
Okay, so he is saying that he does know the woman, that the woman was indeed at his house, but he's just saying then she left. And then when that person called, he thought it was not a police officer, claiming they were using unprofessional language, and that's why he responded the way that he did, which means he's not denying that he knows the woman. He's just denying that he left with her and was actually driving, the car and was behind the wheel and whatnot. But why would she say that it was him? And then he's saying it wasn't, but he actually does know her and they were hanging out. This is very fishy, especially knowing Jon's past with another hit and run. It's just horrible.
The woman later told police she drank alcohol and consumed mushroom at Jones's house and recalled needing to change her clothes at his house. And her next recollection was being at the scene of the crime, the traffic accident. She said the last person she remembered driving her car was Jones. The court record indicated. Police said Jones called the woman's phone 13 times from the time of the crash until 11:34 a.m. the following morning. And that text messages from his phone were included, though they could not be captured in call detail records. The police report indicated the crash happened February 21st, but also...
I missed this part. Okay, hold up. Okay, so I actually missed this part before. So they said that Jones then, it's recorded that he called her phone, whatever it was, 13 times from the time of the crash. That's why. Why is he calling right at the time of the crash if he's not there? How does he know? He called her phone 13 times. This happened back in February 21st. That was another detail that I didn't hear either. So this is just a few months after the Stipe victory as they're going through these negotiations. I had no idea that any of this happened. And if this happened, who knows how many other things happened? And if he knows that the legal hammer is waiting above his head with all of this potential. I mean, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a hit and run. We're talking about threatening law enforcement officer. I guess it's over the phone and maybe he can claim he didn't know, but what the heck? This is insane. And then what happened to this woman? Why is she having no recollection from drinking alcohol and taking mushrooms? That's not normal. I suppose it's possible if it was a super heavy dose, but that sounds like what is happening? Are you guys with it? I mean, this sounds almost, I don't even know. I mean, I don't want to make an allegation here because the one that is crossing my mind, I guess, with the memory loss is pretty severe, but like it's something is not adding up because you don't have memory loss traditionally ever from shrooms, maybe with a high enough dosage of mushrooms combined with alcohol and something happened. But yo, this is just sounding like a horror movie.
In one place, stated an officer conducted follow-up interviews on January 24th. It's unclear why the charge against Jones wasn't filed until months after the incident. There's no indication that the charges and the decision to retire are connected.
No indication that it's connected, but what else can we say at this point? That is insanity. I've never heard of any. I mean, this is just the craziest story. Now, of course, we've heard stories in the past, but it seems like Jon has tightened up his act. He's flying straight. I guess not. How does this contribute to the entire story? I don't know. But I figure it had to be talked about and had to be mentioned because it is just absolutely mind-blowing. Now, a lot of people have been upset. Luke Thomas, Ariel Helwani, very upset in the way that this has happened. I don't even know how I feel, but in light of this story, I would have to say I'm just happy that we have a conclusion. I'm just happy that we can move on. I'm happy for Tom Aspinall that he is now the undisputed champ. I'm excited to see him fight Cyril Gane or whoever the next contender is. I know some people are not so excited about this fight. I am. Let's move on. Let's have some closure, especially with this type of thing still happening in Jon Jones's life. Let's let him walk away. I know I've sort of said this whole time, I was fine with him walking away from the beginning because I feel like he's done so much in the sport. He doesn't need to fight Tom Aspinall or any other newcomer. He's gone through like multiple generations of fighters, and that's as a fighter. That's from the fighter perspective. But on a personal level, if this has just happened at the age of 37 months after he beat Stipe, then on a personal level, I think this makes absolute sense. I'm happy. Let's move on. I don't even know what to say about Jon Jones. I don't want to jump out there and be too judgmental at this point because there's still a lot of facts missing as this criminal complaint has just been filed. We'll see what happens. We'll see what comes out. But it feels pretty bad. It feels pretty, I don't know. I think I'm still processing everything, especially now a couple things there that I missed initially when I heard this video from Daniel Cormier. So I don't know even what to make of it. Bottom line, we move on. We have an undisputed heavyweight champion. Great for Tom Aspinall. Let Jon Jones walk off into the sunset and work out whatever he's got to work out, and that's it. But it's an interesting question. Did this play into everything? They said the criminal, even though this happened in February, the criminal complaint was just filed. I don't know. It is what it is. As UFC fans, we can now move on. Jon Jones is retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champ. Let's see who he fights next. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this incident had anything to do with what has unfolded? And what are your feelings? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you disappointed? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.